Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Archana Solanki. Here are the headlines we're tracking this hour. For the first time in 15 months, sensex and Nifty end with the red for the fourth straight week. Both indices end at their lowest level in a month after failing to hold on to early gains. A crisis of confidence in China. World's most indebted real estate company Evergrande files for bankruptcy protection in the US. Investors protest outside one of China's largest shadow banks in a rare show of public outrage. Chinese central bank intervenes to prop up the yuan, which hit a 16-year low against the dollar. Jio Financial Services will list on the stock exchanges on Monday. Will become the first company from the Reliance stable to debut on Dalal Street in 17 years. After staying away for 5 years, foreign portfolio investors bet on Indian midcaps again. Goldman Sachs data shows foreign ownership of Indian midcaps rose by 175 basis points in 2023. Consumer durables, automobile and real estate are the top FII picks. Indian promoters sell shares worth nearly 81,000 crore rupees so far in 2023. This is nearly double of all the promoter stake sale in 2022 and a four-fold growth compared to 2018. Banks must allow borrowers to switch from floating to fixed interest rates as the Reserve Bank of India allows banks to penalize borrowers but bars banks from charging penal interest. Now, penalty rules will come into effect from January 1st next year and will not apply to credit cards. Dr. Agarwal Eyes hospital chain raises more than 650 crore rupees from existing private equity investors. Tamsek and TPG plans to double its clinics from about 150 to 300 over the next 3 years. Floods and landslides kill more than 80 people in Himachal and Uttarakhand. Indian Air Force rescues close to 800 people trapped in Kangra. Weather Department forecasts heavy downpour in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and even Uttar Pradesh for the next few days. All right, let's start with the market action. Sensex and Nifty ended a tepid week on a sour note. Both indices ended the day at their lowest level in a month. This is also the fourth straight week on losses for Sensex and Nifty, the worst losing streak in the last 15 months. Nifty Bank also saw profit booking, but the mid-cap index ended flat for the week. Jio Financial Services, which demerged from Reliance Industries last month, will be listed on the stock exchanges on Monday. The non-banking financial company will become the first company from the Reliance stable to debut on Dalal Street in at least 3 decades. Prashant Nair joins us now. Prashant, what can we expect from the listing?
Well, it's going to be a big one, isn't it? As you said, the first listing from the Reliance's stable in the last 17 years is what we're basically looking at. The last listing was the IPO of Reliance Petroleum, which came in the year 2006. So you've got to go back a long way. Now, Jio Financial starts trading this coming Monday. The special price discovery session, which happened on the 20th of July, had found the price for Jio Financial at 261 rupees and 85 paise. Taking the number of shares and the 261.85 price, we get an implied market capitalization of 1.66 lakh crores. So that's the value according to that price. But what happens? The listing will happen in the normal course of things on Monday morning at 10 a.m. We'll get the stock listing. But what after that? Well, on Wednesday, that is 3 days after listing on Monday, that is T plus 3, the stock will be removed from the indices. That is on Wednesday evening. Remember, all this while, Jio Financial had been the 51st stock on the Nifty. It was not traded. It was just there at that 261.85 constant price. Monday, it starts trading. And if over the next 2 days, the stock does not hit a circuit, its daily circuit, on Wednesday, provided it meets that condition, it goes out of the indices. And of course, later, it can make a comeback into the indices depending on its eligibility criterion. Remember, the last review of indices only happened just a couple of days back, the half-yearly review, that is. So the next one perhaps is going to be early next year, but it could come in earlier as well if some other stock goes out. Now, a quick look at what Jio Financial has right now, what the business has right now. Well, the core net worth is about 11,100 crore rupees. You apply a 3 times multiple. You can give a higher multiple or lower, but a 3 times multiple, that is 33,300 crores. You add the value of 6.1%, that's the treasury stock it owns in Reliance Industries at the current market capitalization. that works out to a little over 1 lakh crores. So the total in a way, SOTP value, that sum of the parts valuation for Jio Financial Services in that sense works out to 1.37 lakh crores. So that's the big number right out there. Of course, the market will decide what it wants to ascribe as a value on Monday. Now, this is not the only thing. We've got more stuff lined up. Exactly a week after Jio Financial lists, Reliance Industries will hold its AGM, which is always widely watched for the group's plans for various businesses. But rest assured, this time there would be a particular focus on Jio Financial and the plans that the group has for this particular business. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Prashant, for that update. So all eyes are on that listing on Monday. Moving on. The top story this evening. China's economy is witnessing a crisis of confidence. The world's most indebted real estate company, Evergrande, has filed for bankruptcy protection in a U.S. court in a bid to seek a restructuring deal. The company has sought protection under Chapter 15 of the Bankruptcy Code, which will protect its assets in the U.S. China's top developer was found with liabilities worth $300 billion, also posting a loss of over $80 billion over the past 2 years, which agitated the investors. And as China's debt crisis deepens, investors were protesting. They were seen outside one of China's largest shadow banks in a rare show of public outrage after delaying payments on its products. The Chinese central bank has also intervened to boost up the yuan, which hit a 16-year low against the dollar. CNBC's thank you, Eunice. From China, let's shift our focus to Japan, where after reporting a drop in exports, Japan's consumer price inflation rose over 3% in July. Core inflation rose 3.3% annually, however, slowed marginally compared to June. Both parameters well above Bank of Japan's 2% target, and consumer prices remained above the target for 16th month straight. The rise was largely led by higher fuel costs. Midcaps have seen a strong rally in 2023 thanks to the inflow of foreign capital. As per a Goldman Sachs note, overseas investors' interest has peaked in Indian mid-cap stocks, especially those in consumer durables, autos and the realty sector. Hormaz Patakia is here with the details. Hormaz, which are the sectors of foreign investors keen on?
Well, it's taken 5 years, but foreign investors are finally beginning to warm up to India's mid-cap stocks. And a Goldman Sachs note says that foreign ownership of Indian stocks has risen by 175 basis points in 2023 so far. This comes after Indian equities saw foreign inflows worth nearly $14 billion in the April to June quarter after some intense selling pressure through most part of last year. Now, among sectors where foreign investors have increased their stake include consumer durables, auto components and auto stocks itself, and real estate. And they have also increased their stake in insurance, industrials and cement. Now, among sectors where ownership has seen a reduction are NBFCs, IT and metals. However, one must keep in mind that the NBFC decline is led by HDFC before its merger with HDFC Bank. Now, among the top 5 foreign-owned stocks at the end of the June quarter include Max Healthcare, Shriram Finance and other names. Now, new age companies like Paytm, PB Fintech, Delivery and 3 Adani Group stocks, Enterprises, Ports and Green Energy are also part of this list. Interestingly, Sona BLW has also seen the highest increase in foreign ownership in 2023 in a list that also includes the likes of Paytm and Delivery. On the flip side, domestic institutional ownership of BSE 200 stocks has declined by 10 basis points during the quarter, but still continues to remain around its historical high levels of 8.9%. Domestic institutions have reduced their stake in most sectors where FIIs have raised stake, like durables, auto, real estate, and even banks. They have increased their stake in NBFCs, utilities, and chemical names. Now, coming down to more normal retail investors like you and I, ownership of Indian equities by retail investors has now increased for 2 straight quarters, but their ownership of small cap names remains below the 3-year average of 16%. Now, here's the interesting part. The 5 most retail-owned stocks does not include a single Nifty 50 constituent. That list is led by Yes Bank, followed by Federal Bank, Zee Entertainment, Voltas, and Biocon. In fact, Zee Entertainment has also seen the biggest increase in retail ownership in 2023. Well, to sum up, foreign investors have once again taken a liking to the broader markets, and that possibly explains the rally we have seen in the mid-cap names so far.
Right, thank you, Hormaz, for that comprehensive update. Moving on, all 10 Adani Group stocks witnessed a sharp surge in today's trade. The group stocks rose up to 10%, taking the group's overall market capitalization back above 11 lakh crore rupees for the first time since February. The stocks were in focus after reports suggested that the Abu Dhabi National Energy Company, PJSC, also known as TAQA, was evaluating an investment of up to $2.5 billion in Adani Power. However, as per a Bloomberg report, TAQA clarified that there is no truth to the reported deal with the Adani Group. Concord Biotech made a strong debut on the stock exchanges, listing at a 21% premium over the issue price at 900 rupees per share. The company's IPO received a strong interest as the public issue was oversubscribed by nearly 68 times, led by demand from institutional buyers. Private equity firms continue to bet big on pharma companies. Shares of Dr. Agarwal's eye hospital soared in trade after the hospital chain raised more than 650 crore rupees from Singapore's Temasek and US-based TPG. The hospital plans to deploy this capital to expand its current network of about 150 centres to over 300 centres in the next 3 years. Dr. Agarwal's raised over 1,000 crore rupees from Temasek and TPG in May last year. Banks must allow borrowers to switch from floating to fixed interest rates, says the Reserve Bank of India. The central bank has allowed banks to penalize borrowers but barred them from charging penal interest. Now, penalty rules will come into effect from January 1st next year and will not apply to credit cards. Lata Venkatesh has more on this.
The primary motive for the Reserve Bank is to ensure that penalty does not become a part of the interest, in which case the person for one disobedience or lack of following a rule is ending up paying up till the end of the loan an extra amount. So they want to avoid that injustice. That's the first point. So penal charges can't be penal interest. The second thing they're making very clear is that a penalty is meant to ensure good credit discipline. It is not a source of income for the bank or the NBFC. If they see traits of that, they will obviously disallow it. Third one, which was always there, that the boards of banks and NBFCs should formulate policies on how penalties should be imposed. Fifth rule, within the same category, you cannot have discriminatory penalties for, especially what they call banks loans given for purposes other than business. Now, why the loan is taken cannot be your reason for the penalty. I mean, if you took it for an education loan, even if it's an unsecured personal loan, I'll charge you less. But if you took it for a holiday, I'll charge you more. You can't do that. Secured and unsecured can be a category, but within a category, the rules, should not be discriminatory. And finally, the quantum of the rules will become effective from January 1st. So banks and NBFCs have that much time to streamline their rules.
Right, thank you, Lata. A Pune-bound Vistara flight from Delhi received a bomb threat today. Passengers were evacuated from the aircraft and a thorough investigation is currently underway at the Delhi airport. The airport received a call around 7:30 in the morning while boarding was underway. Vistara has confirmed that the flight is delayed due to mandatory security checks. The Delhi Commission for Women has issued a notice to the Directorate General of Civil Aviation and the DCP of the Indira Gandhi International Airport. The notice is over a sexual harassment incident that reportedly happened on a SpiceJet flight on 16th of August. The Commission took suo motu cognizance of a viral video which showed a passenger trying to click obscene pictures of a woman flight attendant and his woman co-passenger on a SpiceJet Delhi to Mumbai flight. Moving on to the auto space, German luxury car manufacturer Audi has launched the new Q8 e-tron series in India. The Q8 e-tron will be available as an SUV and a sportsback at a starting price of 1.13 crore rupees. Bookings for the electric vehicle series have already begun and deliveries are expected to commence soon. Moving on, international travel to India has continued to lag even as luxury travel recovers to well beyond pre-pandemic levels. That's the word from hospitality major Accor, which operates brands like Novotel and Ibis. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 Shilpa Ranipeta, Puneet Dhawan, Senior Vice President for India and South Asia, also shared the company's India plans going forward.
In India, because of a very successful joint venture which we have with Interglobe, and we are invested into India. But looking ahead, a lot of our development is happening from an asset-light point of view in terms of management contracts, and we are looking aggressively in terms of franchise as well.
All right, it's time for a short break. Coming up next, floods and landslides kill more than 80 people in Himachal and Uttarakhand. Weather Department forecasts heavy downpour in Himachal, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Details when we return. Welcome back. Indian promoters have sold shares worth nearly 81,000 crore rupees so far in 2023. This is nearly double of all the promoter stake sale in 2022 and a four-fold growth compared to 2018. Nigel D'Souza is standing by at the wall with the details. Nigel, over to you.
Well, that's right. And the big question is, since we're seeing so much of promoter selling, who's getting right? Either the promoter entities are getting it right or the investors. Well, that's a question. The answer we'll know in the coming years or so. If you look at it, well, the promoter entities, they've been selling big time. And in this calendar year so far, it's nearly around $10 billion approximately. Well, you'd say that that number is rather large. And to put it into context, well, we still have 4 months to go in this year, and we're already double of what we saw in the previous year. Now, just to put into context, you'll say, let's compare the total sale value of promoter entity with the average market capitalization. So in that terms, well, in 2020 as well, it was at similar points, at around 0.3 times odd. Well, but you need to keep in mind that the market cap, the average market cap itself, between 2020 as well as 2023, it's nearly around double. Now, why are we focusing on this aspect? Because in August 2023, promoter entities have sold nearly around $3 billion. Just take a look at that. Massive numbers what you've seen. And to run you through the big trades out there, you have the Adani Group companies, you have JSW as well as Indigo. This, mind you, is just in the last week itself. That's this week itself that we've seen more than $1.5 billion worth of promoter selling. And even a couple of other large trades in the month of August as well come up for you on the screen. And there should be a couple of more smaller trades that come up for you between 100 to around 500 crores odd. They as well come up for you. Put all of this together in the month of August, it's nearly around $3 billion worth of promoter selling. Now, to wind this down then, what does this mean? Well, a couple of aspects. One is, you could say, it shows you the depth of Indian markets. Imagine $10 billion worth of promoter sale, and yet it's getting lapped up. So that's showing you the depth of the Indian markets, which is a positive. On the flip side, you'll say, hey, promoters, well, they are the best analysts of their own company. Why are they selling? Well, we'll know the answer in just a bit. For the time being, though, we're keeping it pretty much open-ended. Who's getting it right? Either the promoter entity or investors. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Nigel, for that update. Moving on to some national headlines. Close to 74 people have died in last 6 days in Himachal Pradesh due to flooding and landslides. About 800 people have been rescued from flood-hit Kangra by the Indian Air Force. The state has incurred close to 10,000 crore rupees in losses. Rains are expected to subdue in Himachal in the next few days. However, heavy rains are expected to hit parts of Uttarakhand. Network 18's Yash Goyal is here with the latest from Mandi district, which was one of the worst hit in Himachal Pradesh.
We are coming to you from Himachal Pradesh, Mandi district, which is one of the worst affected due to the rains and incessant rainfalls which have occurred on the 13th of August till 15th of August in the state. In fact, I am coming to you from the Beas River banks, and in fact, this is the Mandi city area which has been hit badly by these rains and landslides. In fact, you can see that the trail of destruction is quite visible over here. In fact, this very landslide happens a couple of days back, washing away a couple of hotels which were there on this very hill. And in fact, all these hotels you see on your screens have been emptied by the authorities because this entire zone has been called as the red zone. Because as of now, the authorities maintain that yes, the rains have subsided, yes, the weather is better, but still the state is on heavy alert due to the cloud formation which is happening on and off in certain parts of the states.
All right, let's get you the latest from Manipur, where at least 3 village volunteers were killed in a fresh incident of violence. Officials say the 3 lost their lives in an exchange of fire with armed miscreants. The victims were reportedly entrusted with guarding the village. Former United States President Donald Trump's lawyers have requested the postponement of his federal election interference trial to April 2026. This comes amidst the prosecutor's proposal to begin the trial by the first week of 2024. Trump's legal representative said the extraordinary delay was needed owing to the large amount of evidence and scheduling conflicts. And before we wrap, we leave you with the latest visuals of the moon clicked by Chandrayaan-3's Vikram lander. Goodbye for now. We'll be back with more news and updates.